The M4 iPad Air. I haven't seen this device torn down in quite a while. The last video I've seen was with the M2 iPad Air, and iFixit actually gave this a 3 out of 10 on the repairability score, but Apple's made some serious progression since. In this video, we're going to be tearing this device down, seeing if Apple improved repairability, and also seeing why the EU gave this one of the weirdest scores I've ever seen. The blue color looks pretty nice. One thing I did notice that I've never seen before is that Apple actually writes Apple Inc. on the side with iPad Air and some charging stats. And then if we go inside the charging port, you have the model number of the iPad. Very hard to see. You have to really look closely, but it is in there. If you're picking up a new iPad Air, you're gonna want to protect it, and ESR is your guy for that. This is the Shift keyboard case. It's a lightweight case with a keyboard that detaches magnetically and connects over Bluetooth. It's fully adjustable with 4 multi-touch gestures, so you can work anywhere comfortably. This case has a little pouch on the back that's meant to store the ESR Geo digital pencil. It's only $32.99 and it's a cheaper alternative to the Apple Pencil Pro. It connects through Bluetooth and has 12 hours of continuous use after fully charging in only 20 minutes. It has palm rejection and tilt sensitivity. The tip is also only 1.5 millimeters, so you can get detailed with your drawing. You can also pair it with Find My so that you never have to worry about losing it when you're on the go. And for your screen, the ArmorRite screen protector installs in literally one pull with no dust or bubbles. It's 7 times stronger than generic protectors, but still feels super responsive. It also has 9H scratch resistance, so you can take it on the go without worrying. I'll drop the link to all of these products in the description. Big thanks to ESR for sponsoring this video. Let's cook the iPad Air M4 and see what Apple changed on the inside. And now we can begin prying. We'll grab our suction cup. I'm going to avoid this area here because I think there's some connectors over there. We're not really going to be using much alcohol because it is still an LCD, and alcohol can sometimes seep under the LCD, so you have to be very careful. Yes, the device is still on. That's because I like to see if the screen is still working properly when I'm prying into it. The adhesive holding down the screen is really strong. It's gonna be harder than I thought it would be. There we go. My pry tool has finally gotten underneath the display, and now we can just pry around the perimeter. Open it up. And there it is, the iPad Air M4. I'm already seeing a lot that I like in here, but first we have to disconnect the display and anything else that's connected to it. And just like most other iPads, we have to do this. It's very annoying and stupid, but you have to wedge something in between the motherboard and the battery to disconnect it. There we go. And we can confirm that the battery is disconnected by pressing the power button and getting no response. Now we're gonna go ahead and unscrew everything connecting the screen, disconnect the display, the top microphone. These connectors are absolutely tiny up there. There we go. We have the display removed. This is pretty much the same display that came with the M3 iPad Air. No big changes there. The first thing we're going to remove is the battery, and to do that, it looks like we have a bunch of pull tabs here. Apple has made quite a huge change and finally added iPads as one of their self-service repair options. That means parts, tools, and even, sorry, just listen to this. Even repair manuals are all available for all of the newer iPads, including this one. It only took about 4 years after launching their self-service repair program, but here we are. We could probably thank the EU for that and for revealing some stats about this iPad we would have never known, but I'll cover that later. I think now we should just be able to pull on the battery, and will it come out? Please. Boom. On a lot of the iPads I've worked on in the past, there used to be a little ring here which actually stopped you from pulling out the battery. You'd have to remove the entire motherboard to remove it, but now you can just take it off on its own. The battery is a 28.93 watt-hour battery or a 7,606 milliamp hour battery, but that's not what I'm excited to see. This is. The charging port on this iPad seems to be modular, which is a huge blessing. In the past, it's been soldered directly to the board, at least on the iPads that I've worked on. This one, you could just take right off, I think. Let's find out. And that is the connector for the charging port, but check this out. The charging port is at a really weird angle. The screws are kind of like fighting for their life to stay in. Unscrew. If we apply some alcohol down here to the charging port, it comes right out. So charging port replacements on this iPad are fairly easy to do, which is very refreshing to see. Let's see how hard it is to remove the board. So this is the EU's rating score for the iPad Air M4, and honestly, I've never seen anything like it before. It got rated G for energy efficiency, which sounds terrible, but the important detail is how the EU calculates this. It's basically a battery life to battery size score. So instead of just asking how long does it last, the EU asks how long does it last compared to how big the battery is. The problem is that big, high high resolution tablets have a huge screen tax since they burn more power, they need bigger batteries, and that ratio tends to push a lot of premium tablets into the lower energy grades. What I found to be extremely interesting is that the label forces Apple to reveal water resistance and dustproof ratings for their iPads. This iPad Air got rated IP42. It also scored a C on the repairability grade, and the drop rating isn't great either. Now we can finally pull off the motherboard. We're going to heat it up and remove this graphite paper so that we can take a look at that M4 chip and the N1 chip. We do have a metal plate covering it, but this might just be the M4 chip. Before we take a look and see though, let's remove this. The fact that this isn't soldered down is pretty nice for motherboard repairs. There we go. We have it removed, and what's interesting to see is this is the NAND over here, but then we have space for a second NAND. So technically, if you wanted to upgrade that, you probably could by soldering on a second NAND, and we obviously know now that this is the M4 chip. Let's get a look at that little Apple logo. And just like that, we can see the M4 chip with the 12 gigabytes of RAM. It's kind of crazy that we have an iPad with an overpowered chip like this, and now a MacBook with an iPhone chip. The N1 chip is likely hiding under one of these shields, which I'm not going to take off right now because I'll probably completely damage the motherboard. But this iPad now has Wi-Fi 7, which is a pretty decent upgrade over the last generation. On the board, we still have some soldered on flex cables up here and at the bottom, and if we turn the board completely around, you can now see how the battery attaches to the motherboard. It's just via these pins, nothing else. Pretty simple. There's still some components in the housing here, and one of them is fairly unrepairable. I mean, you can't remove this without breaking it. That component is actually the speaker. We'll apply some alcohol to it and see if we can remove it. It does come up, and now we can remove the speaker, and we kind of damaged it. I'm curious to see if it'll still work at the end, and we'll find out later. Up here, we have the other speaker, which I'm not going to remove because I don't want to break it. We have some antennas up here, likely the Wi-Fi and GPS. It looks like we have a spacer with some magnets under it, and there's actually a speaker grill up here. Obviously, there's no speaker here. These holes might just be here to enhance the signal reception of the antennas, but it kind of seems like a waste of space to me. The rear camera is the same as last gen at 12 megapixels. We have the rear microphone over here. This is the little wireless charger that charges the S Pen. It's integrated into the housing, so not something you can remove very easily. All in all, I'm not sure I'd rate this iPad a 3 out of 10 on the repairability score, but I wouldn't give this any more than a 5. The fact that we now have repair manuals and parts for these iPads is absolutely huge, but if you take a look at some of the prices for replacement parts Apple sells, you might reconsider repairing this at all. A lot of this is obviously thanks to the EU, but the fact that repairability is now becoming a larger focus is huge and something to celebrate. As for the speakers, well, they work, but they sound like this. The 18 Pro for a laptop, what the inside of a budget laptop looks like from Apple. And anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.